Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. So I am back today to do a September TBR pile of possibilities. Now this is not something I typically do on any given month, but I was looking ahead at some of the books that I'm wanting to read, different new releases, different like monthly challenges and events on BookTube, and I realised, you know, maybe doing a monthly TBR rather than a seasonal one will actually be a good way of me keeping track, not holding myself accountable, because let's be honest, it's a pile of possibilities. These books may be read or they may not. I may substitute them out with different books, but it's a good way of putting on your radar the kind of things that I'm interested in right now. I might not keep it up past the autumn months because, you know, in September you've got things like Shorty September, you've got Shake-tember, I think there's Tudor-tember, there's Victober, there's Non-Fiction November. There are all these new releases coming out because it is the run up to Christmas. So yeah, this is how I'm going to keep a handle of all of this. My TBR, which had been quite small, has slowly through the year cropped up, and I do want to kind of manage that. So yeah, this is kind of my solution. Now, one of the reasons that my TBR has in fact crept up is because you will know from a video that I did about a month or two ago, which was about how I'm changing how I'm reading, that I am increasingly trying to read more plays, poetry, short story collections, essays, that kind of thing. Things that are not just typical prose non-fiction or fiction, and I'm trying to read a little of each every day. Now, I won't lie to you, July and August was a little bit of a sparse time for that kind of reading, just because I was so busy and also because I was on holiday. But for September, I want to get back into those books with a vengeance. So while month on month, these books may not change, or not many of them will change, because I am just doing like a poem a day, one essay a day, one short story, that kind of thing, I do think it would be interesting to track how things chop and change through the months. So in terms of poetry, I have 365 poems for life. At the current time of filming this, it is the 28th of August. And because I didn't take this on holiday with me, I am a little bit behind. I've gotten up as far as the 6th of August, but by the time September rolls around, I would like to be back where we need to be for September. And it is just sad to get behind because I'm really enjoying this poetry collection. Though not wanting to be stuck with only reading those, I also have English romantic verse, which I got 48 pages into before I got very busy in July, and I got up to William Cowper's poems. So we're just going to keep on plodding through this. For my play, at the moment I'm just going through Shakespeare's, and I am reading Much Ado About Nothing. I got up to Act 3 Scene 1. Really, I could just sit down and just plough my way through this because I have seen Much Ado recently. It is my favourite of the comedies, at least so far, but I am enjoying the pace of just doing a scene a day, so we will see how we go. A recent addition to this pile is something that I brought from home, and it is The Secret Diaries of Anne Lister, at least the first collection of her diary entries, as edited by Helena Whitbread. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, whether I'm just going to do one entry a day, because some of them, as you can see, are just like a paragraph long, but I do feel like I should get around to these because I find Anne Lister really fascinating. I've read a couple of biographies of hers, but I've never actually sat down and read her diary entries. For an essay collection, I have These Precious Days by Anne Patchett. I had gotten up to How to Practice, which is page 58. Finding these really engaging so far, so I definitely want to keep going. The short story collections is probably the thing that I'm failing the most at. If it's getting quite late in the day and I have to sacrifice something, I'm often sacrificing short stories. So I am still making my way through Kate Atkinson's Normal Rules Don't Apply. I basically got up to Blithe Spirit and then just petered out, but I want to keep on pushing through because I know there are some really great short story collections out there. Another addition that I'm making to this little pile is throwing in some of the Penguin Great Ideas. There's not like an exact number, just reading like 5 or 10 pages each day and then slowly making my way through. So this is the first one, which is Seneca's On the Shortness of Life, which I am about halfway through. And then finally for letters, I have Charlotte Bronte's Selected Letters. I imagine I'm going to be working through these for quite a while. I'm currently on letter number 15 and page 28, so slow but steady progress. Oh, and actually for poems, I almost forgot. I have finished up the Poem for Every Summer Day, so you can imagine with September the 1st on the horizon, I'm also going to be starting on a poem for every autumn day. I have actually read this one before, but it was back when this collection came out in 2020. I haven't read them since. I do, as you can see, have all of the dog-eared poems, and it'll be really interesting to see if the poems that I dog-eared still mean quite as much to me now. I've been looking ahead at some of the new releases that are either coming out late August or early September, and you'll actually be seeing 2 anticipated releases for September this time round because there are just so many. But I have tried to really whittle down that list for this TBR video to the the ones that I think are going to be the best of the best, the ones that I am most intrigued by. And I've settled on the idea that my 2 priority releases for September are Boudicca's Daughter by Elodie Harper, which is coming out actually today as I'm filming, but I'm not going to be able to get around to it until September, and No Friend to This House by Natalie Haynes, which is her Medea retelling. Those are the 2 that I definitely want to make time for in September. And then finally for this video, I'm going to look at some other books that I have on my TBR that are typical non-fiction prose or prose fiction. The first of those being a book that I would like to finish, which is The Mysteries of Udolpho by Radcliffe. I actually picked this up for Jane Austen July. As you can see, I got, you know, about 40% of the way through this. And to be honest, I was finding it a little bit slow going, and I think that's why when it came to my holiday, I just didn't bring it with me. But I would like to complete this in September. I don't want it to just be hanging around. I was really inspired to pick this up after reading Jane Austen's bookshelf, and I'm glad that I'm finally reading it, but I do feel like I am still waiting for the plot to kick off proper. And I'm like, come on Anne, give me more. A book that I started and didn't get too far into was Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. And I don't know what it is about historical fiction set in the Victorian times, but that just feels very September-y to me. I literally got up to chapter 2, so I cannot give you too much in the way of plot right now, but I know this is a favourite of so many people. Another book that I know is a big favourite is Soldier Sailor by Claire Kilroy. Coming in at 233 pages, it doesn't quite qualify, I don't think, for Shorty September, but it is kind of by far the shortest book on my TBR. And I just heard so many great things about this. It was shortlisted for last year's Women's Prize, and I do just find it really intriguing. And then finally, before I close out this TBR pile of possibilities for September, I have 3 books on my TBR that are like big coffee table type books, and because I am having to move at the end of October, I would really like to get at least one of these books read so that I can send them home to my mum and not have to move with them. And I thought, since it is Tudortember in September, that maybe the one to prioritise is 6 Lives, The Stories of Henry VIII's Queens, which is this giant book from the National Portrait Gallery, which was to coincide with their exhibit, which I actually saw and really enjoyed last year. And it is basically the book off the exhibit and is just a beautiful thing. I've owned this since Christmas and I still haven't read any of it, and I really want to, because you know how much I love the Tudors, especially the 6 Wives. And I even have the perfect bookmark to go with it. Like, look at them. Oh. So yes, I would like to prioritise this. So there we go. Those are maybe not all of the books that I will end up reading, but definitely the ones that are on my radar for September. Please do let me know if you've read any of the books I've spoken about today. Alternatively, please let me know about anything that is on your September TBR. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.